Mr. Narayan Murthy, please come on the stage. He's our session moderator. Our next speaker, Mr. Sachin Kapoor, Head Marketing, APAC Emerging Markets, Groupon. He has a proven record of accomplishment in planning and leading comprehensive sales and marketing strategies in support of business goals and objectives. Mr. Rahul Narvikar, Founder and CEO, NDTV Ethnic Retail. He is a seasoned retail professional with enormous experience in e-commerce. And Mr. Madhav Sethi, Group Head Marketing, Head Digital Product, Business Head Ask Me Free Ads and Deals. AskMe.com and AskMeBazaar.com has been launched recently as disruptive mobile first consumer experience across local search, classified deals and commerce. Mr. Narayan Murthy, a session moderator.
Hello. Good morning, everybody. Welcome all. It has been a great morning. Long time back in Delhi, so it feels good. Thank you, each and everyone, for being here. Smart retargeting for e-commerce companies. And we're going to talk about the multi-screen consumer phenomena which we're all facing today. Before that, I was just going through a research document from last year, and I was reading about what are the top activities as far as search is concerned which people in India have done last year. For 2013, the research is out, but 2014 we'll get very soon in December. Can anybody tell what was the top searches people in India did on their mobiles last year? Anyone? Last year, 2013. iPhone 6 last year? Okay, that's futuristic. Okay, I'll give it away. Come on. I thought a lot of people would have searched the same keyword. It is Sunny Leone. Yes, my friends. It is Sunny Leone who topped all charts of searches by far, probably 300% more than the next celebrity who was Shah Rukh Khan. I don't know why people search for Shah Rukh Khan, but anyways. So what do you think this year will be? Yes, somebody already gave it away. What do you think this year will be? Apart from the charismatic Mr. Modi, a lot of people, according to me and according to one of the research in India on mobile phone, searched for deals, mobile phones, cheaper mobile phones, and anything to do with, buying something online. So I think these are the top trends which are being already positioned as what people are trying to do in this year, and I'm sure whenever the search results from all the search giants across the globe will come out, these are going to be the ones, and especially, of course, Narendra Modi will obviously be on the top of the charts, thanks to a great campaign they did. Cool. So coming back to the topic, and why I said this was because that sets a mood of the nation, the mood of what the consumer is trying to do, the mood of what the consumer is trying to act on. And that is exactly what we're going to focus here, especially on the e-commerce arena. And I have three gentlemen here who are from, who come from diverse experiences, who are going to share their insights. And together, we hope to make some sense out of this huge phenomena which all of us are experiencing in our everyday life. To start with, I'll start with Rahul, and then we'll come back in the panel. So Rahul, you've been in the e-commerce space, in the retail space for very, very long years now, and I know you've been associated with successful startups, big companies, small companies, a lot in that space. So where do you think, what is the current state of e-commerce in India, and where is it going from here?
So I was on a call with somebody from California, and he said, "Sir, market mein to aag lagi hai." And today morning I opened my paper and that's the nice housing.com story.
Yeah.
But having said that, I think everybody's coming onto the bandwagon. And we are about selling ethnic wear. We sell, at Indian Roots, we sell saris and we sell langas and other stuff. And we started off as thinking of ourselves as a niche player. So when we did the math, our plan was that we would focus on the outside India market for first 2 years and then pivot back and, so to say, enter India.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, with zero marketing, I'm getting 35 to 40% of my numbers are happening from India. And now we are relooking at probably we should enter India with a focus this year. I'm told it's a $14 billion market within India only for ethnic, which is branded ethnic. So we are not able, the only constraint we have is our capacity. That's the only constraint. Demand is huge.
Marriage is still a large institution in India. We still marry.
Absolutely. So, and again, it's not just marriage. There is the bride and the groom, and then there is all the chacha, taya, salis who keep buying. And nowadays it's become a event of sorts.
Yes.
So you have a cocktail, you have a sangeet, and you have all of that. And suddenly, I think globally also it's become very cool to be Indian, you know. So we see a lot of people ordering stuff for a black tie event in New York, wanting to buy an Indian ethnic sari. People are wanting signature statement pieces. They want conversation pieces. So we have this hand-painted Ramayana sari, which takes about 4 months to get created. Wow. It's the entire Ramayana hand-painted by a single artisan on one sari. And we're seeing a lot of demand for that. Sabyasachi, of course, is the top designer. Yeah. But we also have a Indra Nui buying stuff from us to gift to other people all over the world.
Awesome. Okay. So is this a new wave of e-commerce you're seeing, a new customer you're seeing in
I'll tell you, I mean, if I were to look at entering e-commerce today, I don't think anybody has the resources to take on a Flipkart or a Amazon or a Snapdeal. I mean, these are the three biggies. And that's the generic thing. So what is left is small niches, right? That's where I think everybody's going on.
So you're saying it has already graduated to a certain extent wherein you're saying niches have to play a role and it can't be mass because it's a money game now.
So you look at it from, so in our space, if a designer wants to go onto any of the larger platforms, they kill their positioning, right? So you can't, it's like, to give you an analogy, you can't sell an Armani out of Big Bazaar. You know, Armani needs to have a small emporio. So the best analogy I have is if you look at the Vasant Kunj plate, there is a Ambi Mall, there is a Promenade, and there is an Emporio. But there is a gap between all three, right? Yeah. So if you want to sell a high-end product, you need to have that Emporio there, which is where everybody is going.
Cool. So going to Manav. So again, where do you think e-commerce is right now in India, and how is it going, and your thoughts on the same?
So when we look at e-commerce from AskMe's point of view, we try to enable SMEs to come on board and list their online shops and, you know, allow them or handhold them to list their SKUs as well. So from an industry standpoint, I think what we've seen is only the tip of the iceberg. If you look at it from consumption standpoint, I think e-commerce is creating more choices for the consumers where consumers were deficit as far as the choices is concerned. But I see a lot of it, you know, the money which is coming in to the organizations going through either the marketing platforms such as yours, Google, Facebook, broadcasters and sponsorships. So there is this entire ecosystem is only poised to grow, according to us.
Sachin?
Audible?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So there are two aspects to it. One is I was reading a report on Indian e-commerce, and it's amazing how, you know, how the country is kind of taken to e-commerce. And with India, there's this, you know, there's this, I wouldn't like to, for lack of better words, it's sort of a herd mentality. There one starts to go in one direction and something starts to catch up, it just catches fire. And as Rahul mentioned, that, you know, the entry barrier to e-commerce with the kind of funding that, you know, the major players have got is become high. But there are still, you know, pockets which are available. If you look at the mobile shipments in India, I was reading this report, and in 2013 there were about 250 million mobiles shipped, out of which 1% was e-commerce. 2014 that is slated to grow significantly. But there is still a significant amount of consumption that is happening offline. So there is an opportunity to connect the offline user, to connect that offline consumption to online. And the only thing that can do that is perhaps the mobile device. For us at Groupon, what we know that the second revolution of e-commerce is going to be local commerce. So you started by buying books, mobiles, electronic devices. You'll probably start buying your meals online. And that's what we've been seeing growing significantly in the past, and the past 1 year has been crazy. And what our estimate says is that by 2016 will be the inflection point. 4G will launch, and when 4G launches, India will kind of, start adopting 3G. That's how the Indian psyche works, because 3G will become cheaper compared to what it is today. And that is where the inflection point kind of
If
rests.
3G works.
It will. Once 4G launches, 3G will start working.
I'm hoping for the same. So just taking a cue from there, the other searches which were done in 2013, interestingly, were coffee and fast food. They featured in the top 10, mobile searches done by Indian consumer. That shows a very interesting trend of how things are changing and how the consumer is changing. In fact, the most important aspect of, as you rightly said, mobile is driving the new revolution as far as consumerism is concerned in countries like India. This is a huge phenomena as far as, because India is a very uniquely poised country with a large population, with geographical challenges. And one of the retailers, I can't quote him, but he was mentioning about how he gets his maximum orders from northeast states. Because physically a truck can't reach there, and you can't set up a shop there, and you can't do a retail outlet there.
No, but Northeast always has a great potential. In Fashion and You, when we started in 2010, I think 30% of our numbers were coming from Northeast, and we realized they are very fashionable people. Their access to offline retail is limited. They have very good pockets in terms of spending. And they were, we were very surprised. We had done a survey on which are the brands you would want to see on Fashion and You. And we started getting names like Rock and Republic and Seven for All Mankind. In that time, most people in India had not heard of those brands. And all of them were coming from Northeast. So their awareness about brands is also very, very high.
Absolutely. So how is mobile influencing a consumer's choices? How is he or she behaving in a different manner? I think the most fascinating aspect of our lives today. If you talk about any businesses, and I underline any businesses we are talking about, the influence of mobile and mobility devices is immense, and it is actually changing the face of the businesses. So you can take example of any retailer who started as a pure web business, or any offline businesses are slowly but in a very consistent manner changing their focus into a mobile first businesses or mobile only businesses in some ways. So how is this, and what is this importance of mobile as a consumer in this whole equation, and how is he going to redefine the business as far as e-commerce is concerned in countries like India? Sachin?
I think currently, and please excuse me if my numbers are not 100% accurate. Currently, there are about 200 million internet users, and what the estimates are saying, the industry estimates are saying that there will be about 400 million internet users by 2016. And the next wave of 200 million customers will come primarily through mobile. If we see the internet usage by mobile consumers, it's just growing significantly.
It's already taken over the PC numbers.
It's taken over. For us at Groupon, 53% of our traffic today comes from mobile, which is just something that happened almost overnight. And we continuously analyze our traffic trends, and suddenly we see this sudden spurt of mobile devices, tablets, smartphones that people are logging into. And the buying pattern, especially in our case, because we are more tilted towards local commerce, it's just so beautiful. So you will see that your desktop transactions peak during the afternoons on weekdays when people are in office, but your mobile transactions peak during weekends. So there is a significant opportunity. You will see a lot of e-commerce players were grappling with this sort of trouble some time back, saying that weekends the sales dip. So if you're a customer looking for e-commerce deals, you could get some great crazy discounts over weekends because sales were dipping for most of these guys. But now that the mobile's taken over. So on the weekend, your mobile sales actually go up. And that is where the opportunity lies. Please.
Absolutely. So again, Manav, if you also can throw a light about how your specific business, it's an interesting business proposition right now in the country like India, and how mobile consumer is changing and how you guys are adapting to this new consumer.
Sure. So I would look at it from a SME standpoint again, and very early we realized with our key learnings in Yellow Pages and SME acquisition space that India is not a DIY country, right? Here is you have a merchant who's willing to pay and who says, okay, create a shop for me, create a website for me, list my SKUs, which is what we have been doing. And the entire thesis behind moving from pure play search to commerce as a specter is in that thesis of launching Ask Me Bazaar, where we have about 20,000 plus merchants. So what we do is, Narayan, that we handhold people to allow to come online, open storefronts for them, and list the SKUs from them. From a mobile consumption standpoint, we are on both ends of the spectrum. While we realize that we have about 200 million or so internet users, we have about 120 million smartphone users as well. But there's 900 million voice consumers, right? That's why we said we are not going to focus purely on from a transaction standpoint on data or on net. We said we will also create a pan-India voice presence. And that's how our pan-India number 010 times 4 allows people where you would call, say, okay, I'm looking for a mobile phone in Bandra. The guy on the other side will say, okay, are you looking for iPhone or are you looking for Samsung? If he says Samsung, he says, okay, there is a store on Bandra who is allowing $2,000 off. Would you want to buy? He'll say yes. The call will be connected and you can actually consummate the entire transaction on the phone itself. So that specter to us is a very, very large and a growing specter, both from a SME standpoint who may find it hard to, come online or open the storefront, and also from the consumption standpoint where people are still taking their own sweet time to come online and transact.
So interesting. So Rahul, I understand, Groupon or Ask Me businesses are, yes, they're more not, kind of human touch feel is not so paramountly necessary. The kind of audience is also different. Somebody who's buying a sari, if you ask my mother to go buy a sari on online, she'll throw a fit or she'll say, what's wrong with you? How does that fit into your bill? I mean, how is it important for you that, how do you target this consumer and how is this consumer interacting with a brand like that?
So I have sold a single shawl worth 19 lakhs online, 100% prepaid.
19 lakhs?
19 lakhs, one shawl. I routinely sell outfits of big designers which are $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 online completely. I think that time has gone past where people are saying touch and feel ke bina you can't buy.
Achhe din aa gaye sir.
Achhe din aa gaye. It's about credibility. With us, what helps is the NDTV brand name there, that people know that the money is not going to.
Yeah.
Also, when I'm selling you a Sabyasachi, people know Sabyasachi what he stands for, or they know Rohit Bal, they know Anita Lulla, In that case, they understand that this is just a technological means of getting that product to them. Secondly, in terms of mobile, I think we never anticipated. So when we did our business planning, we thought, for the first year, about 8 to 10% of our traffic will come from mobile. It's 44% from day one.
Wow.
And we were not prepared, honestly. And then we said, okay, let's look at an app. Now the challenge is, it requires a completely different DNA for you to think mobile.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, in most cases, you try and put the same site onto your mobile, it doesn't open the same way.
Exactly.
In our case, it's about trying to sell very high-end garments. So the richness and the texture has to come out on the image. So connectivity is a huge challenge. Single-click checkout is still not available in India. Yeah. That's the biggest problem. In fact, today morning I'm trying to book a hotel room when I'm traveling. And after some time I gave, I said, yeah, too much of a pain to put in all the card details. And I said, okay, I just called up somebody and said, that's our thing. So in our case, we are trying to figure out a way out where I say, I make it a little hybrid, wherein people check it out. On the phone, they can call up a customer care and say, okay, please book this order for me. But as Manav was mentioning, if I can marry a little bit of voice with data, I can do more number of transactions on mobile. currently. We are still waiting for 4G to happen and all the speeds to happen. But honestly, look, if you look at devices today, earlier I used to carry my iPad everywhere. Now I don't need to because the screen size has actually gone up.
Exactly.
If you look at the iPhone 6 Plus, I mean, you can beautifully shop on it. So those days are there.
Also, Ryan, just to add to what Rahul said, Home Shop 18 is a classic example where they sell humongous number of saris through TV and call centers, right? So if that entire tangible touch and feel or the look
But
was...
you still look somebody who's wearing a sari, who's walking around on the screen and blabbering.
So you could still have a virtual model. I'm sure I keep seeing a lot of pretty faces walking into NDTV's Indian Route store, right? Where I'm sure they are also replicating that stuff. But I think that transaction or that value prop, which, virtual platforms such as India Roots allows, I think they're only poised to grow.
So, just to add to one more thing, when you said, Akshay Dinage and people are really, we're off from the stage where people are worried about security, people are worried about that. On Groupon in India, we sold close to about 63 LASIK eye surgeries online.
Eye surgeries?
LASIK eye surgeries priced at 40,000 each. And people are buying that, and online. And that is the craziest thing. When we put up that deal, we were not expecting to sell more than one or two. And we thought probably the guy offering the LASIK eye surgery deal would probably buy it himself. Because it sounded like a completely crazy idea. In less than 1 month, we sold 63 LASIK eye surgery deals.
It's also a function of who's selling. So if I'm going and buying a LASIK surgery, if I'm buying from Groupon, I know it's a reputed global brand. And so then I'm okay to put that 40,000 rupees there. It depends on who's selling. If it's a very small...
Selling more mobile phones and trying to read them and then
go for a LASIK. Yeah, so we sell a lot of Mandira Vedi saris. So if you can't see Mandira properly, then say, oh, I need to go and buy a LASIK surgery. Right?
So that uniquely brings me, okay, so let me bring in the audience here. How many of you use, your laptop at office, and then whenever you're out of office, you're always on your mobile phone? Probably almost everybody, right? I mean, but your office, you will still use your laptop. I mean, you will still have, so laptop still plays a role of some. When at least you want to see a good movie, you will want a larger screen when you're stuck somewhere in an airport or something. So the consumer is still in one leg in the, I'm sure, I mean, I am a firm believer that digital equals to mobile. I'm a firm believer and I really live by that thought. But the fact remains that the consumer is still grappling with multi-screens.
I'll tell you what, when I'm doing social shopping,
okay.
Today you have all open plan offices, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm okay with other people looking at my screen and seeing what I'm browsing, I'll do it on the... But when it's more personal, if it's a dating app, if I'm on Ashla Madison, if I'm doing something personal, lingerie shopping, then I'll go onto a mobile. And now mobile, we see a lot of trend when people are commuting. It reminds me of Japan a few years back. Everybody's into their screen.
Yeah.
So when you're doing more personalized stuff, you want to do it on your mobile. When you're doing something social, you're okay to be on a laptop.
Also, you need to understand, Ryan, that many offices don't allow people latching on to their Wi-Fi network on mobile. So
Okay.
this entire dichotomy of sorts that, you can only use laptop while you're in your work hours is because you are actually consuming the net, which is office internet, versus when you come back home, you latch onto your home Wi-Fi. So even if you want to use your mobile for, high data intensive apps, you don't have only as much choice.
No, but they're still doing transactions there. I mean, multi-screen phenomena, as far as Indian consumer is concerned, whatever might be the reason, we're all discussing about what might be the reasons, but whatever might be the reason, they're still engaging with brands. They're shopping online. Probably they're checking, while they're traveling to work, they're checking it on the app of a retailer and then going and placing an order on the web. They're still having to deal with this multi-screen phenomena. Probably it will go on for a while, wherein we'll not have laptops after some years. I'm assuming so, that we don't need. I mean, our screens will be, interactive screens probably.
Yeah, I think a lot of research on the go happens on the mobile, and even for offline consumption, right? Today, when especially, I think I've stopped buying books offline. If you happen to be in a bookstore, in a large store, where you see a book section and you're somehow tempted because your wife's shopping for her apparel, you're probably tempted to check out the book section. What you do instantly is, before buying a very expensive book, you just go online and check the prices. And I've had that personal experience where I was checking I was in a bookstore, I was checking the prices online, and I went and told the guy that, hey, this is 20% cheaper on online. He said, you buy whatever books you want, I'll give you 20% off. So, but don't leave the store without buying. So a lot of research is now happening. I mean, some of the brands are promoting it as a USP, For example, I believe Snapdeal launched a very, very interesting service where you could check the price of any item by just sending an SMS. So while you are in the mall, while you're shopping, you could actually just send out an SMS and check the price. So if you're buying a Puma shoe, you're buying a, let's say, Benetton t-shirt, you could actually check the price of the same thing online and then, decide whether you want to buy.
Fair price also gives the same advantage in some countries where you can just scan the barcode and compare it across all e-commerce sites. Whichever is cheaper, you can buy it. You're standing in a retail store. So this brings me to the next important point. Okay, all you guys, in fact, and a lot of other people in this room are facing a unique challenge of consumer becoming more and more different, more and more informed, more and more available, and he's obviously using multiple devices. But in your respective businesses, and I'll start with Rahul again, in your respective businesses, how are you grappling with the data which these guys are generating, right? I mean, they're showing, they're doing transactions, they're doing, they're checking out, they're pumping in a lot of information, there is device data, there is browser data. I'm just getting into a little more of operational stuff, but how are you grappling with all this data? I mean, what do you do with all this? Do you have any system in place which analyzes?
We have an analytics which, of course, there's a software, there's a plug and play, but then there's somebody who's sitting and just analyzing this. So in our case, I'll tell you what's interesting is we are across multiple markets. So the buying in US is different from the buying in Australia.
Correct.
And even in US, you have two different TGs. So the TG of California buys different stuff versus the TG in, say, New York, New Jersey.
Yes.
Or the London
West Coast
people.
Yeah.
So we have a huge amount of data, and we keep churning and trying and seeing trends. And our plan for Indian Roots going forward is, right now there are two sites. There's the indianroots.in for India, and there's the indianroots.com for the rest of the world.
Yeah.
But going forward, it will become indianroots.us for USA, AU for Australia, and depending on season, depending on choices. So I know for a fact that a lot of blingy stuff works in UK, but it's more subtle in US. So we want to start doing our cataloging and merchandising that.
These are like consumer profiles you've created on your MIS.
So this is just the sort of feedback that we get, and so we have data of where the customers have come from and what are they browsing, where are they spending maximum time on, what kind of catalogs, and then you sort of churn that data and get some sort of a trend saying, okay, this kind of stuff works more in this community versus this geography.
Does it plow back into your communication? Does it plow back into your strategy?
Not as much as we would love to do it, because we are still in that phase where we're growing insanely. But at some point we would want to sit and figure out and then make more targeted cataloging. So in the sense, tomorrow if you log on, I mean, a technology that we already have is you will only see stuff which you're most likely to buy.
Yeah.
And if he logs on, we detect his IP and we show stuff to him which he will only pick up.
Yeah.
So if you love Mandira Bedi more, you'll only see a lot of Mandira Bedi.
So same question, Manav. In terms of understanding the consumer, because this consumer is obviously different from others which we would have handled some years ago. He's doing much more stuff than anybody else, and he's much more. His path to purchase is pretty much broken. It's not a unidirectional, linear path to purchase anymore. And in order to influence him, it's pretty difficult because you'll have to keep on tagging him and keep on following him wherever he's going. I mean, that's where I'm getting into the smart retargeting point of view. But again, having said that, how do you deal with this?
So for us, not only consumer identity is a issue, but searches across genres is an issue, right? So we try to play it smart. We said, okay, if we can't look at consumers who are looking for hotels, because from a searches point of view, acquiring that consumer is a high cost. The chances are that the guy would also look for taxi services. So you go into that long tail of search or keywords and try finding those relationship in terms of his search needs, which are directly linked with monetization opportunities in terms of transactions, as he rightly said. Thankfully, we don't have problems beyond India as a geography, because Ask Me and Ask Me Bazaar largely cater to India. But from a retargeting point of view, we have started doing PLA on Google, where we look at acquiring consumers beyond devices, screens, and social data as well.
Cool. And at Groupon, I'm sure, I mean, it's a huge base. Obviously, the customer is a very different customer. He's looking for quick deals. He's looking for, best offers which are available. Again, you mentioned another aspect of localization of deals. And that opens up a, huge permutations in terms of the audience understanding. So how are you guys dealing with it, and what do you guys do about that?
So there are two things. When we started off in the Indian market, we realized that we were perhaps a little late, and the cost of acquisition of customers had already gone up. So while we were focusing on acquisition, that was not our main forte. We wanted to ensure that the customers or the users that we acquire, whether they're subscribers, they're just email signups, email IDs that we have, we need to engage with them regularly. So that is something that has been a focus area for us for the longest time now. And in fact, to the extent that people have, come back to us and said that, hey, we see a lot of other players out in the market doing a lot of ATL and stuff, but we don't see you guys, because we've been focusing a lot inward. So we're looking at various tools. We're looking at CRM capabilities to understand where did the user come in from, what was his first purchase. Yeah. If his first purchase was a restaurant deal, what is his purchase behavior? So we use a lot of big data tools, and thankfully to our global research teams, we have access to a lot of big data tools where we have look at what was the activation purchase price for the user, what was the category that he bought in from, what is the likelihood that he'll shift on to another category, is there an incentive that we can run to that user so that it can get him. So we know, for example, I'll give you an example, a guy who comes in and buys a restaurant voucher on Groupon is at least 25%, there's a higher probability that he'll buy the second voucher within the next 3 months compared to a travel deal or compared to a product deal. Because this is the pattern that we've seen. So we do a lot of such analysis. We integrate our mobile retargeting, we integrate our Facebook retargeting, and we also integrate our CRM email sends to all of that. And that's what we kind of focusing on completely.
That's what I believe, and mobile is becoming the new CRM tool. I think that's a statement which summarizes this conversation, because mobile is constantly becoming the next CRM tool, because there's so much of information this device and this platform is giving back to the businesses, that businesses are just harping on the data which this platform is generating and plumbing it back into their relationship management tools, and in fact are using some phenomenal techniques to, whatever you said, if they can be plugged back into your ecosystem, whether it is on marketing, whether it is on cataloging, like Rahul said, or like what is the future thing which I have to offer to the next consumer, that could be a phenomenal thing. So what do you, Manav, any retargeting specific initiatives you guys do? Because I know you have a niche audience you need to capture too. How much of retargeting efforts you guys do at Ask Me?
So from a Ask Me standpoint, right, we have just launched about 4 months ago. July is when Ask Me was officially launched. So we have been, doing retargeting pretty recently. As I said that from a PLA ads, point of view on Google, we have just started. And from retargeting, as a whole point of view, I think it's something which is yet to mature up. If you look at what Apple is doing in iAds, so they have, I think, as recently as 2 weeks ago, implemented a feature that if you were, looking at e-commerce site on your phone and you, took a SKU to your cart, and let's say you just exited without buying, and you come back and, on your iPad, if you saw that ad and if you click that ad, they will not take you back to that experience of starting from the store. You will find that SKU in your cart, right? So those kind of interesting things where, it is a lot more convenience, from a consumer standpoint, is something where, we'll be very, very keen to explore. Especially when, for us, commerce is one aspect of the things. Search is something which is much more bigger, especially when we are incumbent with that notion that search is actually the starting point.
Exactly. That is where the intent is getting.
Yeah. So, which is why from commerce standpoint also we have not taken any walled garden approach. We work with Amazon, we work with Groupon, we work with eBay as well, where so search becomes a gateway to the
So you essentially
transactions for
tell
us.
that intent signal to back onto the platform.
That's
where
right.
The fulfillment might happen.
That's right.
So any retargeting, Rahul, and on your
So
platform?
I'll tell you, for us that we do retargeting, but for us we have to walk that thin line of not irritating the customer too much also.
Okay.
So that's one of the key sensibilities.
That's an interesting point you raised. Why would a consumer get irritated, and you use that word, if he is seeing what he wants to see?
Now the question is,
does
he
we
want
know
it?
what we want?
Do we actually know, is that what he wants to see?
Exactly. So
Okay.
do you think the data is available in the ecosystem today,
No.
which is capable of telling what the consumer... See, I'm not saying I'll be 100% true always.
So
I cannot be, because he's
you
a
can't
consumer.
be.
He
So
has
also
a fight
the
with
for
his
us,
wife
the
and he
challenge
hates
is,
my ad.
I have different consumers. So I have an Indian consumer whose tolerance level must be higher. I have a US customer whose tolerance is very low. Or I have a European customer who has a zero tolerance. So right now I don't have that mechanism to understand to what level can I go. It's right now just a sensibility that we apply ourselves. But going forward, as we scale, I've been telling my team that we need to figure out if we can somehow do it scientifically.
How many in the audience have experienced a retargeting ad chasing them wherever they're going? So you typed, wow. You see, somebody's
And how many of you have got really irritated by that and said, I will never buy from this brand?
No, because that happens. I searched for Delhi to Bombay on a travel site, and even if I traveled back thrice, they are still showing me Delhi to Bombay.
So you don't want that.
So I was sent a link on an email by e-tailer, and I clicked on the link. It went to a fancy-looking mouse. It's some hand mouse or finger mouse or something like that. It's a new shaped mouse, and I said, okay, interesting. Let me have a look at it. So I had a look at it, and they kept me following everywhere. So in spite of the fact that I will not buy, I saw 10 impressions. I give them 10 impressions on Facebook, on Google, everywhere I go. They still are showing me the same ad for the last 2.5 months.
There you are.
I think fundamentally, the current...
That damages your brand at certain point.
Yeah, of course, it hurts. I mean, I actually almost wanted to write a stinker back to the brand saying that, please leave me alone. I don't want to buy whatever you're showing me. So I think there's fundamentally, retargeting is at a very nascent stage right now, and there are significant challenges in the current approach of retargeting we are doing. And that's why, some of you would have experienced what Visa is trying to do, and we have put together a small infographic which shows and what we have called the e-commerce 2.0 in India, and how this is unfolding, and post which we are going to launch a new product. Where is this? Okay. I'm going to play it, or? Yeah, so we put together a kind of infographic which shows how e-commerce, so this is about, next please. So we were 2012 an estimate of $12 billion as an e-commerce opportunity. 2014 it is pegged at around $21 billion US. By 2016 we're talking about $30 billion US. I'm sure a lot of other numbers are coming, but yeah, this is one of the rough estimate based on some research. We are talking about online travel, e-tailing, and some other classifieds and financial services category taking the lead as far as e-commerce offtake is concerned in India. Also, the most important other aspect we discussed about was what is the phenomena of smartphones and what is the role they're going to play in e-commerce, and growing and going towards next few years. It's going to be huge, because as we already discussed and I said, mobile equals to digital in the coming years, and if that clearly shows, as far as 87% in 2016 is pegged as mobile internet users as a total internet base. So as Sachin said, the next 200 million people who are going to come on are primarily going to come on mobile and use internet. Some of the share of businesses coming from some leading e-commerce players in India in that category order, and these are some figures from their own PR and press and their press releases, which we have just captured together for the benefit of the audiences, that what percentage of transactions or value do they get of their overall transactions from mobile. And the other aspect is the multi-screen consumer aspect we were just talking about, wherein 90% today's interactions with brands, with services, with whatever we do are screen-based interactions. And in fact, the other 10% is also very fast moving towards some kind of interactive thing. I mean, hoardings are getting interactive these days, right? I mean, the other 10% also trying to, the screen interactions are eating into other aspects of it. The share of internet traffic, yes, we've already spoken about it. 70% is already on mobile, 30% is desktop, and this is going to get skewed towards mobile even further. Smartphones, they're getting used everywhere, home, office, travel, work, everywhere. I think there's nothing which where mobile phones have not taken. They have even replaced your alarm clocks right next to your beds. Consumers, how mobile sites and apps are driving e-commerce, and the kind of experience what Rahul was talking about is only possible in an environment which is rich, which can support multimedia, which can support rich media, and the richness of the content gives them experience of retail, and then further building up interest and desire and opportunity to buy. That's essentially how it is. Yes, there are interruptions in a purchase cycle. Currently, we have discussed about how the current way of retargeting consumers, how current ways of targeting consumers is not the right manner. And yes, people are getting irritated. We had a show of hands. And knowing what he wants is the big challenge, and that's what we are trying to address. What we have observed, in fact, as far as smart retargeting is concerned at VServe, we have done several pilots with several categories, and we have observed that there was a 6x boost in ad response via the smart retargeting. And what that smart retargeting is, in fact, we are more than happy and I'm extremely proud to present your small AV about our new product launch which we are trying to do here. AV, please.
Raj wants to buy an LED TV for his son's birthday. Nikita has a wedding to attend. She wants to book her flight tickets. An hour later, Raj is reading news on a mobile app. He sees a mobile ad for the same 32-inch LED television. Nikita is playing a racing game. She sees an ad offering a discount on flight tickets. Customized recommendations help you create relevant and real-time ads. VServe Smart RT is designed specially for e-commerce companies to retarget the desktop or mobile consumers with 100% accuracy and deliver the most relevant offer on mobile. VServe Smart RT, the smarter way to retarget.
Thank you. So what essentially we're trying to do here is we're trying to bridge all these gaps, whatever we've been talking about. And it's my favorite line when I say that's the way cookie crumbles. Cookies have been abused to the core. I'm sure all of you would have heard cookies, and cookies being the fundamental base of any targeting or retargeting products we've been using. And we at VServe believe that cookies are going to die because they're unsustainable, they're irritating, and I don't want them in my, whatever. So essentially we're trying to recreate fundamental differentiation in audience identification, which will give e-commerce companies and a lot of other advertising categories going forward an opportunity to uniquely connect with their own audiences in their own realm, knowing what they want. Thank you. So we open the session for Q&A now, and I would like the person who's going to ask the question stand up, tell his name and company, and address the question to any one of us. Yeah, okay. One question. Sorry. No questions?
Wow.
Or we have wonderful mic. No questions? Oh, awesome. This is
Everybody
good.
got retarded.
Either we are absolutely good or...
We covered everything.
Everybody got retarded.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much. You've been a wonderful audience. Thanks.
Thank you very much. I think the point was so very well made.